PSG, they have done it again.
جابرييل في الكرة الأهم، جابرييل أمام السابونوف، جابرييل خلاص باريس سان جيرمان بطلا لبطولة دوري أبطال أوروبا. الكل ينادي ارفع الكاس يا ماركينيوس، واعلن باريس بطلا لأوروبا فائزا بأمجد بطولاتها. فاللحظات الخالدة بالإمكان أن تتكرر وما أجمل.
No superstar, just one team ready to fight for one goal.
2 times in a row. But not just in terms of winning the Champions League, but they're the best team in Europe to watch, and their ability and the way they move the football around. It's seamless, it's slick, and it's brilliant to watch. Not today so much, but in a general rule of thumb, it is brilliant to watch.
Kylian Mbappé, Vitinha, Doué, one system, one philosophy, and one era of dominance. The result, back-to-back championship doubles. The next club after Real Madrid to get their hands on this monumental achievement.
3 in a row? I hope so!
Meanwhile, somewhere in Madrid, Kylian Mbappé is quietly watching it all unfold through a screen, witnessing his former club reach the summit of glory and become back-to-back champions without his presence anywhere in sight.
Yeah, the atmosphere wasn't good, Kay, let's be honest. There were whistles, the biggest whistles of the night without question for me were for Mbappé in the second half. Huge whistles for Mbappé. I think the loudest we've heard maybe for any player this season, a reflection, I think, of the frustration of the crowd with him in recent weeks.
73 million people are united behind a massive petition with one purpose: to drive him out of Real Madrid.
Now, you may be wondering what is going on with Kylian Mbappé and Real Madrid. The Madrid fans have launched a petition to get rid of the striker, which has now had more than 30 million signatories to explain the situation.
41 goals, top scorer in the Champions League, but people are still calling him the biggest problem.
Mbappé had 62 goals for Real Madrid. There is people who want him out of the fucking club. Do you understand the difference? Based on stats, no, this guy should be untouchable. But there is people that want him to leave the club because the team is not performing when he scored a dumb amount of goals.
PSG have won back-to-back titles, while Mbappé has suffered back-to-back failures. So is he really the problem, or merely the victim of a much bigger story?
If you're Mbappé now, seeing your former club win back-to-back UCL trophies, meanwhile the Real Madrid team that you joined was a former UCL winner, but now since you have joined them, Real Madrid has gone trophyless the last 2 seasons. Unless Kylian Mbappé doesn't have a great World Cup campaign, there's going to be very, very uncomfortable conversations about Mbappé and his club legacy.
Every answer surrounding Mbappé right now begins with what PSG have become. Forget the PSG of the past with Neymar, Mbappé and Messi, a team that had all the glamour in the world yet always fell short of the Champions League throne. The PSG of 2026 is a machine operating on an entirely different level. Luis Enrique's philosophy is built on 2 core pillars: possession football and high-intensity pressing, where superstar egos are completely erased in service of the system. Kylian is the perfect embodiment of that idea. He doesn't need to be a media-dominating superstar. Instead, he quietly delivered 10 goals, 6 assists, and goal involvements in 7 consecutive knockout matches. The ultimate weapon who always knows how to appear in the right place at the right time. In midfield, Vitinha, the man of the match in the final, finished the campaign with 1898 touches across the tournament, while also equaling the record for most completed passes in a Champions League final, a mark previously set by the legendary Xavi in 2011.
Maybe get a shot away. Spurs were very quick to come out at him, especially Romero. Vitinha, oh, he's done it again! Second time in the game, Vitinha.
Uno de los brutales del equipo, lo mismo que ocurre con Marquinhos.
And this is the key point. PSG don't need one player to score 40 goals a season. They need everyone to step up when it matters. Chelsea were demolished 8-2 on aggregate, Bayern were knocked out in the semi-finals, and Arsenal were dragged into a nerve-shredding penalty shootout in the final. No flashy football, no ego, just the system. And this is where the real question begins, because Mbappé used to be the centrepiece of PSG, and the freedom he enjoyed in Paris is worlds apart from what Real Madrid now demands him to submit to. Because at PSG, Mbappé wasn't just operating within a system, he was the system. Dominating the left flank with complete freedom. He could drift centrally, attack open spaces, or occasionally drop deep to link play. Around him were Neymar, Di Maria, and Verratti, elite supporting stars whose job was to create chances and stretch opposition defences so he could explode into life. And after 7 seasons, the legacy he left behind was a brutally absurd return. 256 goals in 308 appearances, a truly staggering number.
Oh, that's unbelievable footwork from Mbappé.
Problem is for Lucas Vazquez. Mbappe's through him. Oh, magnificent! Beyond magnificent! Utterly explosive!
But then came the turning point called Real Madrid. At the Bernabeu, the left wing naturally belongs to Vinicius Jr., as a matter of course, forcing Mbappé to move centrally and play as a striker, a pure number 9, a role carrying the enormous shadow left behind by Karim Benzema after 14 years of reign.
A big chance for Real Madrid to get back into the game. It's Kylian Mbappé, and Kamara makes the save. It's Luis Perez. Cross comes in, Mbappé!
And Benzema himself, the man who once occupied that very position, openly said what the entire football world was thinking.
El problema es que para mí no es un delantero centro. Mbappé no es, porque cada vez que juega también con la selección de delantero, de 9, no está bien, no es su posición. Pero el problema es que a la izquierda hay un chico que está como él, es el mismo nivel. Vinicius. Entonces hay un problema. Y Vinicius creo que no se le puede meter en 9 o a la derecha.
Sí.
Que hay mucha presión y es verdad que no es Paris Saint-Germain.
This isn't PSG. Just 3 short words, yet Benzema wasn't wrong. Mbappé is essentially a false 9 blessed with Usain Bolt's speed and Zidane's skill set. A genius who needs space behind the defence, freedom of movement and supporting stars around him to serve as a launchpad for his brilliance. Forcing him to stand inside the penalty area, waiting for service, is like using a Ferrari to deliver packages through narrow alleyways. And yet, even while trapped in a system completely out of sync with his strengths, he still managed to produce the extraordinary this season. You can question Mbappe's status, but the following reality is impossible to deny. Mbappé finished the 2025-26 Champions League campaign as the tournament's top scorer with 15 goals in just 11 matches, setting an unprecedented record in the new league phase format by scoring 13 goals in his first 7 games alone. To truly appreciate how absurd that is, consider this comparison. Kvaratskhelia, the brightest star in PSG Championship winning side this season, ended the campaign with 10 goals and 6 assists. An incredible return by any standard, but Mbappé? He scored 15 goals all by himself, only to suffer the heartbreak of exiting in the quarterfinals. The perfect example came against Olympiacos, where he scored a hat-trick in just 6 minutes and 42 seconds. It was the second fastest hat-trick in Champions League history, trailing only Mohamed Salah's record. And he wasn't done. He added a 4th goal in the second half. 4 goals, one man deciding an entire match. And that, perhaps, is the ultimate irony modern football has ever witnessed. The game crowned Mbappé as Europe's greatest goalscorer this season. Yet fate still forced him to pack his bags and go home at the quarter-final stage. And now, behind the glory of the Golden Boot lies a brutal reality at the Bernabeu. 73 million people don't care how many goals he's scored. They're simply lining up to find a way to push him out of the club. Munich, April 15th, 2026. The Allianz Arena. Real Madrid entered the match carrying a 1-2 defeat from the first leg, with the huge pressure for a comeback. But the most unbelievable scenario imaginable unfolded. Just 35 seconds after kickoff, Arda Güler stunned the entire stadium with one of the fastest goals in Champions League history.
Last week, so bring it on.
That's given away by Neuer, and it's straight to Arda Güler, and that is what he can do from range. He scored one from inside his own half earlier in the season, so that was small fry for him. Just 45 seconds into the game, Real Madrid are back on terms. Manuel Neuer, so pivotal last week, has made a horrendous error.
And he wasn't finished. The Wonder Kid struck again to complete his brace before Kylian Mbappé added Madrid's third goal.
Vinicius Junior again, running this time at Jonathan Tah, trying to come infield, feeds Mbappé, and he gobbles up the chance to make it 3-2 Real Madrid. On the night, 4-4 on aggregate. This stunning game of football takes another dramatic twist.
Real temporarily led 3-2 on a nerve-wracking night, but the aggregate score had now been dragged back to level terms at 4-4. Then, in the 86th minute, disaster struck as Eduardo Camavinga received his second yellow card and was sent off. After the match, coach Arbeloa bitterly described it as an obvious turning point, while Jude Bellingham openly labelled the referee's decision a joke. Reduced to 10 men, Real Madrid completely collapsed. Luis Diaz punished them in the 89th minute, before Michael Olise extinguished all remaining hope with an unbelievable scissor kick finish in stoppage time. The aggregate score finished 6-4 and Real Madrid were out. And the media, of course, they placed the blame squarely on Mbappé. The irony was impossible to ignore. He scored that night, earned an 8/10 performance rating, and sat alone atop the Champions League scoring charts, yet he was still the first name chosen as the scapegoat. Meanwhile, PSG, without needing any individual to carry the burden of scoring 15 goals, calmly continued their march toward Budapest.
Yo creo que fui muy valiente la temporada pasada cuando os dije que pensaba que íbamos a tener mejor equipo en ataque y en defensa. Yo sigo pensando que somos mejores en ataque y en defensa, y los números están ahí. Nos hubiera encantado tener a Kylian y los jugadores seguro, por lo que le tenían a Kiki, pero creo que el equipo está respondiendo a un nivel espectacular. Os dije que me encantaría que hubiera, en vez de un jugador que marque 40 goles, 4 que marcaran 12 cada uno. Ya han superado con creces esos números y invitamos a los demás, y ese es nuestro objetivo como equipo, mejorar.
And this is where the absurdity reaches its peak. PSG lifted the trophy with a system that worshipped no single superstar. No one needed to score 40 goals. No one was forced to carry the responsibility of saving the entire world. At Real Madrid, meanwhile, Mbappé scored 41 goals, ruled the Champions League scoring charts, and was rewarded with deafening boos inside his own stadium.
It can be Kylian. It can be Mbappé. Mbappé comes into Real Madrid, and we all thought, and I think rightfully so, we thought this is going to elevate Real Madrid, because he would be able to check this ego at the door, given the fact that Real Madrid were successful without him. They didn't need him. And what he has come in, whether he intended it to be the case or not, he has wrecked this team.
He scores, the team loses, and the media are always hungry for a name to splash across the front page. The truth is simple: Kylian Mbappé has become the easiest scapegoat in world football today. But the real question isn't, is Mbappé actually bad? PSG have become champions for a second consecutive season. His former club stands on top of Europe without him. The media immediately jumped in with the most damaging question possible. Does Mbappé look back with regret? The answer is no. Is this an excuse? No. It's simply logic. PSG have won just 2 Champions League titles in their entire history. Real Madrid have won 15. In the summer of 2024, Mbappé walked onto the Bernabeu pitch in front of 80,000 supporters and proudly declared, "Playing for Real Madrid has been my childhood dream."
Ha dormido durante muchos años con el sueño de jugar con el Real Madrid. Y hoy se realiza mi sueño, soy un chico feliz hoy, muy feliz. Yo sé que fue un trabajo difícil, pero ahora ganamos. Estoy aquí, soy un jugador de Madrid. Es un día increíble para mí, increíble. Desde que soy un niño tenía únicamente un sueño, fue de jugar aquí y de ahora estar aquí. Ahora tengo un otro sueño, este sueño es de cumplir. Quiero cumplir un otro sueño, es de estar a la altura de la historia de este club, el mejor del mundo.
The unfiltered truth, stripped of all PR spin. He had dreamed of this moment since he was a child growing up in Bondi. History provides the broader perspective. Cristiano Ronaldo joined Real Madrid in 2009, yet endured 5 long years of pressure before finally lifting his first Champions League trophy in 2014, the launchpad for the unprecedented three-peat that followed. Mbappé is only entering his second year in white. He is 27 years old, in his prime and under contract until 2029. PSG triumph is a magnificent achievement that deserves every bit of praise it receives. But Mbappe's Champions League story is far from over. If anything, it has only just begun. And now, the next chapter begins. Florentino Perez will not calm the storm by selling Mbappé. His response as the club's all-powerful president? Detonating a real bombshell on the touchline, bringing José Mourinho back.
Very big breaking news. We do, and it's about José Mourinho because it's been confirmed he will become the new Real Madrid manager.
José Mourinho back to Real Madrid. Here we go, the deal is done. José Mourinho always wanted to go back to Real Madrid. Now the agreement between the Special One and Real Madrid is done and closed.
The agreement has officially been signed, running through 2029. All that remains is for Florentino Perez to secure re-election as club president on June 7 before unveiling this media bombshell to the world. And what are José Mourinho's first words upon taking charge? Mbappé stays, not for sale. Why is that statement such a turning point? Look at how the Special One has shaped superstar-filled teams throughout history, and the answer becomes clear.
It's about bringing in someone who is perceived to have taken Real Madrid into a more competitive era, but above all, it's about personality. It's about the perception of what he did in terms of taking on Barcelona. It's a perception of what he did in terms of being a public mouthpiece, and also a perception of what he was within the dressing room, having the authority. And so this is driven, as I say, by that sense of nostalgia. And of course, the thing about nostalgia is that some of the details, some of the awkwardness, some of the nastiness kind of gets forgotten with time. It gets lost in the mist of time, and people just hang on to the bit that they liked. And the other part of this, of course, is the crisis that Real Madrid have in the dressing room at the moment, which has been just extraordinary to watch everything unfold over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And of course, when you start looking around and start thinking, who do we bring in that has the force of personality, you come inevitably to Mourinho.
And Mourinho has never forced stars to serve the system. Quite the opposite. He builds the system to elevate the stars. History has already proven it. When he had Cristiano Ronaldo at Madrid, he brought in Luka Modric to completely unleash CR7's killer instinct. At Chelsea, he engineered his counter-attacking philosophy around the destructive force of Didier Drogba. The same pattern emerged with Zlatan Ibrahimovic at Inter Milan. Fast transitions and rapid counter-attacks, that's exactly the oxygen Mbappé has been craving. Vast open spaces behind opposition defences, explosive, devastating speed. A target striker serving as a pivot so he can roam freely and attack from every angle. PSG conquered Europe through possession football and territorial dominance. But Mourinho's upcoming Real Madrid will be gambling on something entirely different. A deep defensive block and counter-attacks as sharp as a razor blade. And in that ruthless predatory brand of football, Mbappé is simply the most terrifying weapon on the planet. PSG in 2026 are a perfectly programmed collective. The right system, the right players, guided by a tactical mastermind who knows exactly what he is doing. Every piece of glory they achieved was fully deserved. Mbappé in 2026, meanwhile, is the story of a genius trapped in the wrong system, under the wrong manager, inside a dressing room, seemingly tearing itself apart from within. And yet, he still managed to score 41 goals. Take a moment and really think about that number. 41 goals in the middle of absolute chaos. PSG became champions because they worshipped the system rather than the superstar. Real Madrid fell because they possessed a superstar but failed to find the right system for him. Mourinho understands that better than anyone. He has already proven it before. And once the pieces click into place, once Mourinho constructs the perfect framework to free Mbappé from the burden of being a makeshift number 9 and places Real Madrid into a footballing structure designed to maximise every one of his strengths, then PSG, Arsenal, Bayern and everyone else will be staring into the face of a genuine nightmare. Because there is one ultimate truth that never changes. Mbappé scores goals. Mbappé always scores goals. And for the first time in 2 long years, he is about to be guided by a manager who truly knows how to transform that killer instinct into a weapon of mass destruction. Pains, not the deafening boos. And certainly not the media-fueled drama. The real story is what happens next. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you in the next video.